Hello everybody, this is Howard, the Teaser King, coming to you with week 6 of the NFL. Um, I got one lock going in the NFL, I got one lock going in college, so it's basically 4 games that I like, 2 in college, 2 in the pro. I might lock a 5th one. I'm waiting on some injury news. If quarterback doesn't play, it's going to be a 5th lock. But I can't tell right now if he's playing or not, so hopefully he's not. The line's moving to look like he's not playing, so that's what I'm hoping for. I'm already making some bets on it. Anyway, last week, another good week in the pros. Hit 2 locks, San Diego and Minnesota. Um, Pretty easy locks. Minnesota over Houston was really easy. Um, I tell you, I was looking at my results, and my worst week is like a 9-3 week. Had a couple of 10-2, 9-2 weeks. I think I had one 10-1 week in the beginning. So I've been really, really hot in the pros, and a lot of it's going back to my baseball. Where if the ace was playing the ace, you go under, and if the fifth pitcher is playing the fifth pitcher, you go over, and then if the ace is playing the fifth pitcher, you bet the ace. And that's kind of what I'm doing here. Is it an over team playing an over team? No. Is it an under team playing an under team? Or is it an over team who's strong playing a weak under team? And that's really been my food for thought. The reason I get better as the season goes along is because in the beginning I'm using last year's stats. I don't have anything for this year. Now we're in week 6. I got 5 weeks of stats, and I plug them in with last year. So I take 2015 with 2016, and now the current trends really come out, and you make notes. Denver, Trevor Siemian, Carson Wentz at Philadelphia. What do I do? Different coaches. The Rams moving to LA is a big deal because they played in a dome. Now they're playing on grass. In the dome, there's noise. It's a huge home field advantage. On the grass in the Coliseum, there's not much of a home field advantage. So you look at all these things. I use several methods. Some people think I use 1 or 2 methods. I'm probably using 4 or 5 methods to pick a game. And generally it all comes down to the point spread. The point spread dictates the favorite and the dog over the under. And I'm very keen at finding a bad point spread. When I see a point spread that doesn't make sense, then that's what I'm looking for. Like tonight's game, watching Louisville and Duke. Louisville is a 35-point favorite over Duke, and I'm like, that's ridiculous. In conference, you can't be 35-point favorites. 35-point favorites is if Louisville plays Rice or Louisville plays Louisiana Lafayette. It's not when Louisville plays Duke. You can't lay 35 in that game. It's not going to happen. Ohio State last week laid, I think, 34 to Indiana, and it's the teams in the conference, especially in the meat of the conference. But what I mean by that is, like maybe Michigan and Rutgers, or Rutgers is really bad. Excuse me, a lot of injuries and everything. Then I get it, but even then, I think it was only 28 or 29. A 38 in conference is, the team must really suck, and the one team must be extremely explosive. Now, granted, Louisville is explosive, but Duke's a very good team. They're not like where they were when they won the division for 2 or 3 years, but they're still a very good team. They're still well coached. I don't know how many teams could beat them by 35 anyway. I mean, Ohio State, maybe they beat them by, I don't even know if they could beat them by 35. I mean, that's a pretty good team. So that's what I mean by a bad spread. I make my own spreads. I look at them and go, here's who I think is going to be favored and by how much. I do that before I see the spread, so that way it doesn't deter it. And then when I see a spread off, then I react to it. This week, I have Oakland as a 3-point favorite over Kansas City. It started at Oakland -1. Now Kansas City's a 2-point favorite, 2.5-point favorite. That's what I mean by a bad spread. So as long as I brought up that game, let's talk about it. KC's a very good road favorite. Excuse me. KC is off a loss. They got the shit beat out of them by Pittsburgh. So there's a few things that would have made KC a really good dog. They're very good on the road. Even though they got killed by Pittsburgh, they're still a very good road favorite and a good road dog. They just have the defense and play well on it. But Oakland is a different team this year. Mari Cooper's looks good. Quarterback, God, I don't know why I forget this guy. Derek Carr. Loved him at Fresno State, knew he'd be a star, and watched him go in the third or fourth round and just laughed as they keep drafting these crappy quarterbacks, wondering why they can't find a quarterback. With Carr at home, and they're getting 8.5 in a division game, it's very hard in a division game if you get a home dog. Look at San Diego, Denver. San Diego, a home dog, they got them. It's hard to be a home dog in the division and not, they usually win, they're fired up. It's a division game, they know the other team. So here's one where I do like, I like Oakland plus the 8.5. I can't really back it up by the normal teaser trend because Oakland hasn't been a home dog too much. Recently, let's see, in 15 and 16, Oakland's 4-2 as a home dog. They just aren't, they're just starting to get good, and that's where I noticed the change with Cooper and Carr, and they're starting to play better. So I'm noticing that. So the older trends, here's what people ask me, what do you do when they change, and how do you keep up with the trends as they change? Well, that's how you do it. You understand Carr's just been there for 2 years, so the older trends you don't even pay attention to, and you look at this year's trend and you watch what they did. They came from behind and beat Baltimore. They beat San Diego. So they've got some good wins. I don't see them getting blown out here at home, not with that offense. And that's one of the new things I'm looking at. I'm ranking quarterbacks. So you got Carr is much better than Alex Smith. And so you say to yourself, okay, here's Kansas City and here's Oakland. Let's look at it without the points. Who's better? And I'll tell you the truth, I think Oakland's better than Kansas City. I know offensively they're much better. Defensively they're probably pretty even. The coaches are about even. Andy Reid's the biggest choke I've ever seen, and Jack Del Rio, I don't know, he's nothing. So you basically have coaches are nothing special. Quarterback goes to Carr. Defense goes to KC at this point until I know more about Oakland. I know Oakland can score. They score more than Kansas City. That's another trend I'm doing is the scoring trend. So when I look at the game, Kansas City scores 20 game, gives up 23, where Oakland scores 28 and gives up 27. So actually, like Kansas City's a -2 because they give up more than they score, and then Oakland's a +1. Well, that's not a real big deal, but it shows you that they're the better team. They score more, so they're going to score. Over-under on the game, it's kind of hard. Over-under is 46.5. I would probably take it over 40, which is 20-20, which seems like a nothing score. Oakland can definitely score it. KC probably will score. But KC's kind of not. They're kind of a lower scoring team, scoring the 20. So it's really not the play of an over-under as much here because you don't, like, I played over when Oakland played at New Orleans. That was a really strong over. Against San Diego last week, I had the game over and I locked San Diego. So it was definitely an over game. Here, Kansas City really doesn't score that much to make them an over. But I do look at the game as even. I like the dog in the game. I would have taken Kansas City if Oakland was a 3. In the series, it is a Kansas City series. Um, they're basically like 9-2 in the series if you take Kansas City, but it's also a dog series. The dog's 5-1, so I kind of more or less like the dog in the game. If you just took the game and said who's going to win, you're in line at Caesars, and just pick a winner, KC or Oakland. Who would you pick? And I think it's 50-50. There's no definitive this team's better than that. Now you got a home dog in the conference on a team that I think is better. I think you've got the better team as the dog. I don't really know why Kansas City jumps as the favorite here, but I like it. The more they let them go be 6, 7, 8-point favorites, I'll bet more and more on Oakland. No reason KC should be the favorite here. Take Oakland at 8.5 or 8 points, whatever you can get it at. I see some 1s, some 2s, some 2.5. So go shopping and get the 2.5. So take Oakland plus the 8.5. I think that's a very winnable bet at home. If they get down, they got Carr and Cooper to bring them back. Look at them against San Diego. You know, it was a good game. And Kansas City doesn't have near the offense San Diego does. So take Oakland plus the 8.5. Let's go to another game. Okay, here's... Yeah, let's go to New York Giants. Baltimore laying. It's playing the Giants. Pick the winner. Who knows? The Giants you think are good, but they're turning into an under team, and this is where I'm really getting focused on the numbers, on the points, and this is really helping me pick. When you look at it, Baltimore averages 18 points a game and gives up 17 points a game, and the Giants are averaging 17 and giving up 24. So if you just go by the numbers, Baltimore scores more and gives up less than the Giants. Right off the bat, Baltimore is a better team. Then you wonder, well, the Giants, they got Eli Manning, they got all the receivers, but wait a minute, they're only scoring 17.8 points a game. What's going on? And it really doesn't make any sense why they're not scoring. So what I like to call a weak favorite. A weak favorite is this team's favored, but they're not that strong and they don't score a lot. So a team that doesn't score a lot and they make them favored, what you're looking for is a pretty explosive offense to play against. Well, you don't really have an explosive offense here, but you have a very equal team here in Baltimore who can score, who can play fairly well. Now the trend on the Giants, you're going to love this. The Giants in the last 21 games, if you bet a teaser against them, 18-3. As a home favorite, bet against the Giants 6-1. Now here's Baltimore as a road dog. If you took them, is 5-0. So you have a nice bet against the Giants as a home favorite, 6-1. Take Baltimore as a road dog, 5-0. Beautiful. That's exactly what you're looking for. A weak home favorite and a strong road dog in Baltimore. Now Baltimore, if you bet against them, it's 19-2 or 90% against them. But in the role of road dog is the one role that they're good at. They're 5-0. This is last year and this year. If I go back to 2014, the Giants are 10-2 bet against as the home favorite, and 30-7 bet against, or 81%. Where if you look at Baltimore, they're 10-0 as a road dog. Now they're still 30-9 bet against, but not as a road dog. As a road dog, they're 10-0 as a dog, 6-4 bet against. So the one role is Baltimore is really good in is as a road dog, 10-0. The Giants are a terrible home favorite. That's what I look for. That's really the key to betting. Let's go back to 2013. The Giants are kind of leveling off, 13-5 as a home favorite if you bet against them, 72%. But look at Baltimore, 14-2 as a road dog if you bet them as a road dog, 14-2, since 2013. That's part of the analysis that I'm looking at. So I've got a weak favorite in the Giants against the strong road dog Baltimore. I have the stats to pick it up. Now, you know they're playing in Cincinnati and in Pittsburgh every year. That's in the division. And then whoever else, New England or wherever else. I know they played New England in a playoff game. That they covered that one. So they're a very strong road dog playing a very weak home favorite. And it's funny with the Giants and even the Jets, they're lousy home favorites. You think they'd be really good at home, and they're not. They're terrible. Hard to explain that, but the Giants, I don't know. They're just not scoring this year. Baltimore should be very competitive. I like the dog in the game. If Baltimore is favorite, I'd be all over the Giants. It's one of those games saying, who's going to win, Baltimore or Giants? Get in a pick 'em. Just pick the winner. How can you can't pick the winner. Okay, Eli Manning, all right, Flacco's there. Yeah, they both have receivers. It's the NFL. They both have decent defenses. So it's just a matter of who do you think's going to win. And in a teaser, this is the beauty of a teaser. If you don't play the teaser and the Giants are laying 3 or 3.5, maybe you take the Giants and you lay the 3 and you pray and hope they win. We're here, you take Baltimore 9.5, makes the bet like from 50-50 to what did I say, 10-0 versus what were the Giants? Just a second, I got it. So here the Giants are so the Giants are 10-2, bet against as the home favorite, 83%, and Baltimore's 10-0 as a road dog, 100%. So that's not a 50-50 play. You're betting 100% trend and betting against an 83% trend. So you're probably taking a 90% trend. So they play the game 10 times. Baltimore as a road dog wins 9 of them. And that's what you want. You don't want a 50-50. But that's what the teaser gives you. The teaser takes a 3, which who the hell knows who's going to win, to a 9. So now even if they lose by 7, and it's not, the Giants don't score much, and Baltimore can score. It'll be a tight game. Baltimore can easily win it, and the Giants can win it. It'll probably be like a 20-17 game. If I had to play it, I'd play the game under. The over-under is 44.5, and I would go under 50 because I think both these teams are going to have to struggle to get to 20, and I don't know why the Giants aren't scoring more. Baltimore just is kind of a weak offensive team, but again, the Giants are a weak home favorite. So you take Baltimore plus the 9.5. You could play the game under 50. It's probably not a bad play, but I like the dog because it's such a better play. The Baltimore 9.5. You're taking a team that could easily win the game, and you're getting 9.5 points with them against the team, the Giants, who, would you be surprised if Baltimore won? Absolutely not. So there you have it. I think the matchup, it's just going to be a low-scoring game. Take the points in a low-scoring game. The only time you get burned is when New England puts up a big number, Pittsburgh put up a big number on Kansas City. Teams like that, Minnesota shuts you out. They win 20-3 or 20-0. That's when you lose. So you got to watch out for those really strong teams. It's funny. One guy emails me. He pays for my advice. So he says, "Well, what do you think of Cleveland?" And I just said, laugh out loud in the email. I'm like, we don't take Cleveland. We bet against Cleveland. We never take Cleveland. And I do a lot of art of war, which is you bet the strong team and you find a weakness and you bet against weakness. And that's how you bet. That's how you live life, right? So by doing that, you never really want to bet the weak teams. You want to watch them and watch them get stronger, like Oakland was a very weak team that's getting stronger. But Cleveland's the worst team in the league. All you want to do is bet against them, or you just lay away from the game. And I just said, we don't talk about Cleveland. We don't bet them. We bet against them, or we don't play it. And they're really bad. And one of the other things I look at is quarterback. And, you look at the quarterback stats. They're terrible. Bad defense. I mean, why would you want to bet Cleveland? Who could they beat? I'm not sure they could beat half the college teams. Alabama would beat them. Ohio State would beat them. Michigan would beat them. I mean, they're a terrible team. So, I mean, that's my point. It's they're not well coached. They don't have a good quarterback. All the basics that you need to be a winner. Good coach, good quarterback, good defense. That's the key to it. Offense has to be balanced. You need to run and pass. That's how you win in football at any level. So if you have that, so you look at Cleveland, don't have a good coach, don't have a good quarterback, and don't have a good defense. So why would you waste your money betting that team? Anyway, just a lesson learned. So those are my two college, my free teaser. I tried to give you some information there. So take Oakland plus 8.5. Take the Baltimore plus the 9.5. As I said, I have two locks going. I basically picked almost every game. I did lay away from Denver. The trend was Denver yesterday, but they were laying 3. My gut was initially Denver had won the last 4. Actually, I didn't know they'd actually beat them the last 8 because I knew the last 4 they had beaten them. So I don't like to break the trend. I've learned this a long time ago. If you're at roulette, it comes up red 10 times in a row, you play red. You never play black until it hits black, because you can only lose one bet betting on red. You can lose 20 bets waiting for black to hit, right? So you stay on the streak. You always play the streak. So therefore, the play had to be Denver if I was going to make the play. But I didn't like Denver. I didn't like the number laying 3. I didn't like getting Denver plus 3. And, you know, the play should have been San Diego getting points, but I can't go against the trend. So that's why sometimes I don't take the obvious pick. You know, if some team blows out another team, and, you know, and they're hot, and they're, oh, I'm going to jump on them, and I'm not taking them. And, well, why aren't you? Because the trends and all my odds and all my look is on the other team. So therefore, I can't go against the trends, because that's how I'm so successful, is by playing the trends, playing Baltimore as a road dog. That's how I win. That's the beauty of my system that's perfected over, since really I've been on the system since 1995, where I've actually documented the teams, and in a teaser, Baltimore's 10-0 in a teaser. So that's been going on since 1995. I thought about that in the 80s and perfected it in the 90s. So for 20 years I've been using the system, and it works like a charm. It tells me who's hot and who's cold, who to bet on, who to bet against. I'm not about to go. So there was a huge trend on Denver, but I couldn't play it because I didn't like the spread. So instead of playing San Diego, I didn't play it. And that's why I don't play certain games where people are playing. If I don't have the trend or there's injuries, I'm watching that and trying to figure that in also. So I'm doing a lot of studying before I make my pick, and there's many methods I'm using. So that's why I might not play a certain game where everybody's going at, because it's not the last game that matters, it's the matchup of this game. That's the only thing that matters, is how does Oakland and Kansas City match up? Can Oakland move the ball on Kansas City? Can Kansas City move the ball on Oakland? If one team gets down, is the other team coming up? All this stuff is what you got to look at, and you can't, you know, I don't know, if I don't know, pick a game. I mean, just because, I don't know, I hate to jinx myself, but just because, I won't even go there. If you know, if Cleveland wins the game 52-0 last week over the Lions, that's probably the only team they can do that to. Then everybody jumps on Cleveland the next week. Oh, they just won 52-0. They're going to win 52-0 this week. Well, it doesn't work that way. It's the matchup. The Cleveland-Detroit matchup, and this is all fictitious right now, you know, was in favor of Cleveland. So they blew them. Their offense matched up to the defense. Their defense matched. But when they play Cincinnati now, they don't have the same matchup. So it's not going to be 52-0. And that's what you have to look at. And that's what the problem everybody has. Everybody sits there and looks at the last game That's the length of their memory. This is why so many people can't gamble, because they look at the last game, not the whole picture of work. You've got to look at the whole picture. And therefore, the last game, it's not that it doesn't mean anything. It's nice if they win. They're on a little winning streak, but really, like, take the Oakland KC game. The fact Oakland beat Kansas City 34-31 has no bearing on Oakland, Kansas City. The fact they beat San Diego has no bearing on Oakland KC. It's a totally different defense. You're not facing Phillip Rivers. You're facing Alex Smith. It's a different scheme. It's a different coach. So therefore, it's a different game. So you can't assume it'll be 34-31 Oakland over Kansas City like it was over San Diego. You have to look at the game going, who do you think will win? Who's the dog? And what do you think the points are? So that's the key to it all. Taking each game individually. You use the trends because you want to get the psychology of the team. Baltimore is 10-0 as a road dog, so they're very comfortable going on the road, being the dog. They're going to give you a good effort, and they probably will make it 11-0 because that's the type of team they are. So that's why you do it. If they're a terrible road dog, you wouldn't want to play them in a road dog because they probably don't like that role and they're uncomfortable, and that's what it shows. So it shows you they're very comfortable as a road dog. Anyway, Howard the Teaser King. Take Baltimore to the 9.5. Take Oakland plus the 8.5 or 8. Nice little lock for you. If you're playing multiple team locks, 5, 6, 7 team locks, 5, 6, 7 team teasers, try to trap that last game if you can get some good odds. Me and a friend hit a 5-team teaser last week. It was a beautiful teaser, and so you get some nice odds, and you make some nice money hitting the 5. I picked so many games. For me to pick 5 is really not hard. Like I said, I have 4 locks now. I can have a 5th. If a certain quarterback doesn't play who's injured, then I'm locking that 5th game because they'll murder him. So anyway, we could have 5 locks, and there you go. You just buy the locks. You can play a 5-team teaser. This one was $50 to win $570. So it pays for the lock right there. And you could, if you want, you trap the 5th game. I mean, last week the 5th game was San Diego. Minnesota was killing Houston, so that was already in. So you could have played it back. You would have won them both. You would have trapped it because Oakland won by 3, so you could have had Oakland -3 for like 250. You won the 570 on San Diego, and you would have won 250 if you bet half of it on Oakland, and you would have won 700 and you would have won 570 and 250. You would have won 820. So I mean, that was my advice to the guy. It's his teaser was trap the game, and he would have won it if he trapped it. But that's what you want to do is trap that 5th game. But that's my whole point. If you got 5 good games, play a 5-team teaser. I'm in one teaser this week. I think it's 14 or 15 games. We're going to win $7,000 if we hit it. So we're not betting $7,000, but I mean, I got so many games because the system works. So once a team hits the system and then another team, I just gave you 2 teams, and I got 2 more that are locked, and I got 5 more that are going that the system and my intuition and the way I think and the way I feel about the games, I mean, I can play most of the games, and I feel really comfortable playing 8 or 9 games. And as you can see my results, the worst week I had was 9-3, I believe. And I've had a lot of 10-2s and a 10-1. I'm still disappointed because I normally hit the home run and go 9-0, 10-0, 11-0, whatever it is. But I'm really locked in now because I got all the stats for this year. So now I'm playing with this year's stats. Makes it a lot easier than trying to figure out last year and changes that happened in the off season. So now I'm zeroed in, see the quarterbacks, got the injuries and everything else. All right, www.teaserking.com. Have a great night, great weekend. Again, go to the site. You can use credit cards on the site. You don't need to know PayPal. As long as you have a credit card or a debit card, you just go in to take the picks and it says PayPal, or it says you want to use credit card or debit card, and you take that selection and then you go back for the password, and that's all you need to do. So you don't necessarily need PayPal to pay me, but that's how I get paid, is through PayPal. So yeah, you can go with the credit card, debit card, and just select that as opposed to PayPal. All right, everybody, have a great weekend. Good luck to you. Thank you for watching the videos. When you leave comments here, if you're asking me advice on the games, really just send it to my email, and then I'll help you there. I'll give you a game or two. That's why I have the advisor box now for $50. I'll give you the advice, but I'll give you a couple of games, no problem. I want to see you win. But if you're getting into a lot of games, then I'll be your advisor and tell you what I think and give you my statistics and who I like. And I basically pick almost every game. College is getting to be a nightmare. There's so many of them, but the pros are easy to pick every game. Some games I just stay away from. That's why I don't pick it, but even in those games I could give you a pick. Alright, everybody, have a great weekend. Good luck. www.teaserking.com